I have not been stung by a bee in like 15 plus years, possibly even longer. But it happened yesterday. Let me talk about it. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of blurry, but it's a little red spot. Like right, I can't even touch it either. Like right there. Do you see it? You can kind of see it now. So, let me tell you what happened here. It's kind of crazy. So, I was out on the back porch, and I had seen this huge, gigantic bee for a few days, and it was like some kind of wasp, but this thing was like it was like bigger than like a standard type of wasp that I've seen, and it was also extremely fast. Like, literally, if you were outside with it, it could practically sting you and fly away in the second you could react to it. I've never seen any other bee be that fast. You know, I've seen wasps before, I've seen yellow jackets. The honeybees are usually pretty slow, as are those boring bees, but all those are very slow type of bees. This thing was crazy fast. It would fly around so rapidly. And I finally saw where it went into. So, you know, I kind of hit the wall a bit, try to get it out, but it's not budging. It's not budging at all. So I look for some, you know, we have some of this, a bee spray to get rid of the bees. So we spray that. Everything's fine. It's like, okay, I don't need to worry about this anymore. So I go out there because I'm cleaning something out on the back porch. And I'm just kind of sitting there, and I hear zzz right by my ear, and that's like the worst sound ever, and it makes me kind of clench up. So I stand up and try to go in, open the door, like walk a foot in, right there in my arm that I got. Now, it was a baby bee. It was a baby bee of that big bee. I'm so glad it was not the big massive bee. No, it was a baby bee. This thing was maybe like that size between my two fingers there. Between the skin of my fingers. Pretty tiny bee. This thing came inside too, and I was just like, where is it? Where is it? It stung me. Now it's inside the house. It's going to try to sting me some more. And I was just kind of like, oh gosh, what if it, you know, went into my room and is waiting for me up here. Now, it felt like a syringe. Like when you get lab work done, it felt like, you know, that going in. Except this was interesting because not only did it feel like that, it started to form like a puffiness around it, and then my whole arm went numb. I could not feel. I mean, I could very lightly feel my arm, especially like even in my hand. It went all the way down to my hand. Could not really feel it. It felt a bit heavy and just numb. Then we end up finding the bee, little tiny baby bee, and get that sucker out of there. I don't know. We just sprayed it. Inside the house. It was just sitting on the back door. I was like, oh, thank goodness. And then, you know, afterwards, a little bit afterwards, you know, the puffiness starts to swell up in my right around where it went in, and then I just had muscle weakness for a few hours after that. And I did have a homeopathic remedy that I took. I'm not sure how much it actually helped because I've not been stung by a bee before in a long time, so I don't know just how long it lingers and stuff like that. But the remedy that I took was ledum, and took that literally like a few minutes after it happened. And, you know, after probably about maybe 5 hours, everything was back to normal. All that's left now is that little tiny spot. There's no big round thing, any more puffiness. There's no itching. There's no swelling. There's nothing there at all. Everything is back to normal. I have full strength in this arm again. Everything's all good. So I'm just glad it wasn't the big bee, because imagine how bad it would have been if it was the big bee. Pretty bad. Now, yesterday was just a crazy day for me anyway, and I'm sure all of us have had this crazy experience before. Well, you have just like a bad day. Things just aren't going your way. But some things did. Some things really went my way, other things, but for the most part, no, things were not. Let me tell you. So I wake up in the morning, early in the morning, and I go to the, not the license, the inspection done on my car at the motor vehicle. And as you know, you already know about the story yesterday that I told you there, but I, pull up and the guy has a mask on, and he's like, whole mask fiasco, like, you gotta get your mask on, ma'am. It's like, oh my gosh, please, I am in my car. I am out in an open area. You are not near me. There is glass between us. I'm like, dude, just calm it down. Calm it down, please. Tries to get me to wear this mask and just like, oh gosh, okay. So that was number one. Came home, everything was fine. Then I made my lunch. Had a salt grinder, and I was grinding it over top of my food. The whole container opens up. All the salt dumps in my food. And I'm like, oh, not just in my food, but all around it, just all over the place. All this salt all over the place. It's like, oh my gosh. On top of that, even when I was making the food, I had some issues with flipping the items and opening things and stuff like that, which was just kind of a mess to begin with. I was like, oh. I managed to get a decent amount of the salt out, but it was like still like eating like pure salt afterwards. I mean, it was a very small portion of what the salt dropped in, but oh gosh, it was just salty as heck. Then after that, in the afternoon, I get stung by the bee. Then in the evening, I play a game on Twitch, on the streaming channel. And it's a game from my childhood. Very, very hard game. And I was not expecting it to take 3.5 hours to complete. I was expecting maybe 2 hours tops. No, 3.5 hours. Extremely difficult game. Extremely frustrating game. I was like pulling my hair out. Just, oh my gosh. And then at the very end, literally like the last minute that I'm about to like end the game and just wrap it up. I'm done playing the game at that point. I'm just showing off a few extras, okay? It would have been worse if it happened during a critical moment, but no, I'm just showing off a few extras at the end. Then my internet like freezes up for some reason. It just disconnects me and something happens. Even my phone cannot connect. Can't connect to the internet. And because of all this craziness, the game ended up crashing, and that's how it ended. It's like, well, the game crashed here. I guess that's a good way to end the game. That's just kind of weird, but that was the end. So it was just a crazy day, crazy mess of a day that it was. So today is much better for sure. So yeah. Anyway, you all take care. I'll catch you later with the bee sting. Bye-bye now.